Have you ever found yourself wondering why, despite your unwavering faith, deep devotion to God, and a sincere heart for serving others, financial struggles seem to follow you like a shadow? Why do those marked by God, the chosen ones, often find themselves in a season of lack, while others seem to prosper effortlessly? Is this a punishment? Or is there a divine purpose woven into these challenges? In today's message, we're diving deep into the profound spiritual truths behind the financial struggles faced by God's chosen. This isn't just a discussion about material wealth. It's about uncovering the greater calling and purpose behind the trials. Together, we'll explore how these seasons of hardship shape your faith, refine your character, and prepare you for something far greater than earthly riches. Stay with us as we unpack this life-changing revelation. If this message resonates with you, give this video a thumbs up, share it with someone in need of encouragement, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Let's journey together in understanding the depth of God's plan for His chosen ones. Spiritual warfare. The enemy fears your purpose. Financial struggles are often more than just numbers on a bank statement or a reflection of circumstances. They are part of a larger, unseen battle in the spiritual realm. For those chosen by God, financial hardship is not a sign of failure, but evidence of your significance in His kingdom. The enemy sees your potential and knows the impact you could have if equipped with resources to advance God's work. This is why, for the chosen ones, financial struggles are not merely economic. They are deeply spiritual. The Bible reminds us in Ephesians 6:12 that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, and spiritual wickedness in high places. This means that your struggle isn't just about unpaid bills or missed opportunities. It's about the forces of darkness working overtime to block your blessings. The enemy is fully aware of your divine calling. He knows that if you gain financial freedom, you'll use it to bless others, break generational curses, and advance God's kingdom. Think about it. When financial hardships come, it's easy to feel discouraged, questioning whether God has forgotten you. But the truth is, these struggles are often an indicator of how much the enemy fears your purpose. He seeks to distract and dishearten you, creating roadblocks that make it harder to move forward. However, this resistance is not a sign of defeat. It is confirmation of your value in God's plan. Let's consider the story of Job, a righteous man who faced immense loss and suffering, including financial ruin. Satan sought to destroy Job's faith by taking away his wealth, health, and family. But what the enemy meant for harm, God used for a greater purpose. Through his trials, Job's faith was strengthened, his reliance on God deepened, and he was ultimately restored with greater blessings than before. Job's story serves as a reminder that while the enemy may attack, he does not have the final say. God does. For the chosen ones, financial struggles often come as a test of faith and endurance. They push you to rely on God more deeply, to trust in His provision, even when the numbers don't add up. This is the enemy's greatest fear, that instead of turning away from God in your hardship, you'll press into Him even further. The enemy knows that a chosen one with unshakable faith is a powerful weapon in God's hands. It's important to recognize that financial resistance can also be a diversion tactic. The enemy uses lack to shift your focus from your calling to your circumstances. He wants you to fixate on what you don't have instead of what God has already promised. But in these moments, the key is to stay grounded in your faith. 2 Corinthians 10:4-5 reminds us that the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but have divine power to destroy strongholds. Your prayers, faith, and reliance on God are weapons that can dismantle the enemy's plans. Understanding the spiritual nature of financial struggles reframes your perspective. Instead of seeing these hardships as defeats, recognize them as battles that God has already equipped you to win. Each challenge you face is an opportunity to draw closer to Him, to strengthen your reliance on His promises, and to stand firm in the face of opposition. There is immense power in declaring God's truth over your financial life. Speak His word over your circumstances, reminding the enemy that you serve Jehovah Jireh, the God who provides. Philippians 4:19 assures us that my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of His glory in Christ Jesus. This promise is not just about material provision. It's about God's faithfulness to sustain you in every area of your life. If you're experiencing financial hardship, know this: the enemy's attacks are not the end of your story. They are a sign that you are on the brink of something significant. God's purpose for your life is greater than the struggle you face today. The enemy may attempt to steal your joy, kill your dreams, and destroy your hope, but he cannot overcome the power of God's plan for you. Stand firm in the knowledge that God is fighting for you. Isaiah 54:17 declares, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." Your financial struggles may feel overwhelming, but they are temporary. Victory belongs to those who trust in the Lord, and as His chosen one, you are destined to overcome. Keep your eyes fixed on the eternal purpose behind your trials, knowing that God's plan is greater than any opposition you face. Preparation for divine purpose. Financial struggles, while challenging, often carry a deeper purpose for the chosen ones of God. They are not arbitrary occurrences or signs of divine displeasure. Instead, they are part of God's intentional process of shaping you for the greater responsibilities that come with your divine calling. Like a master sculptor chiseling away rough edges to reveal a masterpiece, God uses seasons of financial lack to refine your character, strengthen your faith, and prepare you for the weight of His blessings. Throughout Scripture, we see countless examples of individuals who endured seasons of hardship before stepping into their divine purpose. Consider David, who was anointed as king but spent years tending sheep and fleeing from Saul before ascending to the throne. His time in the wilderness wasn't wasted. It was a season of preparation. David learned leadership, patience, and reliance on God, qualities essential for his role as king. Similarly, Joseph endured betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment before he became second in command in Egypt. Each trial he faced was part of God's preparation, teaching him resilience, humility, and the wisdom needed to save nations. For the chosen ones, financial struggles often serve as a training ground. In times of lack, you learn lessons that cannot be taught in seasons of abundance. These lessons include patience, gratitude, and the importance of stewardship. When resources are limited, every decision matters, and this forces you to prioritize wisely. God uses this time to teach you how to manage what you have faithfully, preparing you for greater blessings in the future. Luke 16:10 reminds us, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much." Financial struggles are often God's way of ensuring you are ready to handle the abundance He has planned for you. Moreover, financial hardships build resilience. It is through struggle that your endurance is tested and strengthened. Romans 5:3-4 tells us, "We glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope." Each obstacle you overcome deepens your faith, proving to yourself and others that God is faithful in every season. This resilience becomes a cornerstone of your spiritual foundation, enabling you to weather future storms with confidence. Another critical aspect of preparation is humility. Financial struggles strip away pride and self-reliance, forcing you to acknowledge your dependence on God. When the Israelites wandered in the wilderness, they were sustained not by their own efforts, but by manna from heaven. This daily provision reminded them that God was their ultimate source. Similarly, financial hardships remind you that true security lies not in material wealth, but in the faithfulness of God. Deuteronomy 8:3 says, "He humbled you, causing you to hunger, and then feeding you with manna, to teach you that man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord." During these times, God is also teaching you how to steward not just your finances, but also your gifts and calling. Stewardship is about more than money. It's about managing everything God entrusts to you in a way that honors Him. This includes your time, talents, relationships, and influence. Financial struggles often highlight areas where improvement is needed, allowing you to grow in discipline and responsibility. By the time God's blessings come, you will be equipped not just to enjoy them, but to use them for His glory. Furthermore, financial hardships prepare you for empathy. Walking through seasons of lack gives you first-hand experience of struggle, enabling you to relate to and serve others who are going through similar challenges. This compassion is vital for your divine purpose, as it fosters a heart of service. When you understand the weight of financial strain, you are more likely to use your future blessings to uplift others, becoming a vessel of God's provision and love. God's preparation is often accompanied by a shift in perspective. In times of abundance, it's easy to focus on material goals and worldly success. However, financial struggles force you to reevaluate what truly matters. They redirect your attention to eternal values, reminding you that your calling is not about accumulating wealth, but fulfilling God's purpose. Colossians 3:2 urges us to set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. By teaching you to prioritize what is eternal, God ensures that when financial blessings come, they don't distract you from His mission. Finally, it's important to remember that preparation is not punishment. While financial struggles can feel overwhelming, they are evidence of God's care. He is investing in your growth, shaping you into someone who can carry out His plans with integrity and faithfulness. Jeremiah 29:11 reassures us, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." God's intention is never to harm, but to prepare you for the incredible purpose He has designed for your life. So, if you find yourself in a season of financial hardship, take heart. This is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of something greater. God is working behind the scenes, preparing you for blessings that exceed your imagination. Trust in His process, knowing that every trial has a purpose, and every struggle is shaping you into the person He has called you to be. Your divine purpose is worth the preparation, and the God who began this work in you will be faithful to complete it. God's protection from wealth's dangers. It may seem counterintuitive, but financial limitations are often a form of divine protection for the chosen ones. While the world glorifies wealth and the security it seems to bring, God, in His infinite wisdom, knows the spiritual dangers that can accompany it. Financial abundance can be a blessing, but it also carries the potential to entangle the soul in pride, greed, and misplaced priorities. By withholding wealth, God shields His chosen from these pitfalls, ensuring their hearts remain pure and their focus unwavering. Wealth, if not handled with spiritual maturity, can easily become a snare. It whispers false promises, assuring you that money can solve all problems, secure your future, and even define your worth. But these are illusions. Material riches can lure even the strongest believers away from their reliance on God, replacing faith with self-sufficiency. Proverbs 16:18 warns, "Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." When wealth leads to pride, it creates a dangerous distance between you and God. By limiting financial abundance, God protects His chosen from falling into this trap. Consider the Israelites in the wilderness. God provided manna each day, enough for their needs, but not for hoarding. This daily dependence on Him was intentional. It taught them humility and trust, preventing them from placing their faith in the abundance of resources, rather than in the source of those resources. Similarly, financial limitations in your life may be God's way of keeping you close to Him, ensuring that your dependence remains on His provision and not on your own wealth. Pride is not the only danger of wealth. It can also breed greed and materialism. When wealth becomes the focus, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. Relationships can suffer, spiritual disciplines can be neglected, and eternal priorities can fade into the background. Jesus spoke of this in Matthew 6:24, saying, "No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money." God knows the subtle pull of riches and how quickly they can take the place of His rightful authority in your life. By allowing seasons of financial lack, He protects your heart from being divided. Wealth also comes with temptations that test character and integrity. The more you have, the greater the opportunities for misuse. Stories abound of individuals who began with good intentions, but were eventually corrupted by the power and influence that wealth brought. God's withholding of financial abundance may be His way of ensuring that you are spiritually prepared to handle the blessings He plans to give you. He knows that too much wealth too soon can lead to destruction, as seen in the story of the prodigal son. This young man squandered his inheritance because he lacked the maturity to steward it wisely. God's protection through financial limitation ensures that when the time comes, you will be ready to use His blessings for His glory, not for self-indulgence. Another danger of wealth is the false sense of security it provides. When you have an abundance of resources, it's tempting to believe that you are in control of your life, that you don't need to rely on God as much. This is a dangerous deception because true security comes only from God. 1 Timothy 6:17 cautions, "Command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment." By limiting wealth, God ensures that your hope remains firmly anchored in Him. Financial limitations also foster spiritual discipline. When resources are scarce, you are more likely to turn to God in prayer, to seek His guidance and wisdom. These practices strengthen your relationship with Him and keep you spiritually grounded. In times of abundance, it's easy to become complacent, to neglect the habits that nurture your faith. Financial struggles, though difficult, often bring you closer to God, reminding you of your dependence on Him. Lastly, God uses financial limitations to align your priorities with His kingdom. When wealth is abundant, the temptation to focus on earthly achievements and pleasures is strong. However, when finances are limited, you are more likely to evaluate what truly matters. Colossians 3:2 instructs, "Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things." God's protection through financial limitation ensures that your heart remains set on eternal values, not fleeting material pursuits. It's important to understand that God's withholding of wealth is not punishment, but preparation. He is safeguarding you from the very things that could derail your faith and your purpose. By keeping your resources limited, He is cultivating humility, dependence, and gratitude. He is shaping your character to reflect His image, ensuring that when blessings come, they will not corrupt but empower you to fulfill His calling. So, if you find yourself in a season of financial limitation, do not despair. Instead, recognize it as a sign of God's care and protection. He is shielding you from dangers you may not even see, preparing you for the abundance He has planned. Trust in His wisdom and timing, knowing that He is always working for your good and His glory. When the time is right, the blessings will come, not to replace Him, but to magnify Him through your life. Refocusing on eternal significance. In a world where wealth often defines success, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that material abundance is the ultimate goal. Society constantly pushes the narrative that the more you have, the more fulfilled you'll be. But for the chosen ones, financial lack serves a deeper purpose: to redirect your focus from the temporary pursuits of this world to the eternal purpose God has for you. While financial struggles may feel burdensome, they are often God's way of shifting your attention from materialism to what truly matters, fulfilling His divine plan and making an eternal impact. When resources are scarce, you are forced to confront a vital truth. Material wealth is fleeting. Money can come and go, possessions can break or lose value, and the satisfaction they bring is always temporary. However, the treasures you store in heaven are eternal. Jesus Himself emphasized this in Matthew 6:19-21. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Financial lack pushes you to examine where your heart truly lies. Are you consumed by the pursuit of earthly riches, or are you investing in things that have eternal significance? Financial struggles also strip away distractions, clearing your vision to see God's purpose more clearly. When everything seems to be going well, it's easy to become preoccupied with maintaining or expanding your wealth. You can find yourself chasing promotions, investments, or possessions, often at the expense of your relationship with God. But when financial challenges arise, they act as a divine wake-up call, forcing you to slow down and reevaluate your priorities. In those quiet, reflective moments, God often speaks the loudest, redirecting your focus to the mission He has placed on your life. One of the most profound shifts that financial lack creates is a deeper dependency on God. When material resources are abundant, it's tempting to rely on them for your sense of security and peace. But when they are scarce, you are reminded of your ultimate source, God Himself. Philippians 4:12-13 says, "I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation. I can do all this through Him who gives me strength." In seasons of financial strain, God teaches you to lean on Him, to find contentment and peace in His presence, rather than in the balance of your bank account. This shift in focus is not only transformative for your personal faith, but also for your ability to impact others. Financial struggles often awaken a sense of purpose that goes beyond self-interest. They challenge you to think about how your life can serve God's kingdom, even when resources are limited. Perhaps you are being called to mentor others, share your testimony, or serve in ways that don't require material wealth, but have profound spiritual value. These acts of service reflect the eternal significance God calls you to embrace, prioritizing His mission over material gain. Consider the Apostle Paul, who lived a life marked by sacrifice and financial challenges. Despite his hardships, Paul's focus was unwavering. His letters to the early churches are filled with encouragement to fix their eyes on eternal rewards rather than earthly success. In Colossians 3:2, he writes, "Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things." Paul understood that true success lies in fulfilling God's purpose, not in accumulating wealth. His life serves as a powerful example of how financial lack can sharpen your spiritual focus and align your heart with God's will. Financial lack also redefines what success truly means. In the eyes of the world, success is measured by status, possessions, and wealth. But in God's kingdom, success is measured by obedience, faithfulness, and the impact you have on others for His glory. When financial abundance is not your primary focus, you begin to see the beauty of living a life centered on eternal significance. This perspective shift allows you to celebrate the blessings that truly matter: relationships, spiritual growth, and the ability to make a difference in the lives of others. Furthermore, financial struggles can ignite creativity and resourcefulness in fulfilling God's purpose. When faced with limitations, you learn to think outside the box, finding innovative ways to serve, minister, and give back. These experiences often lead to a deeper appreciation for the resources you do have and a more profound sense of gratitude for God's provision. They remind you that fulfilling your divine calling doesn't depend on the size of your bank account, but on the size of your faith and willingness to obey. God's purpose for redirecting your focus is not to deny you material blessings, but to ensure they never take precedence over Him. He knows that worldly riches can cloud your vision, pulling you away from the eternal perspective He wants you to have. By allowing financial struggles, God gently guides you back to what matters most: a life aligned with His will, marked by eternal impact. It's also worth noting that this redirection often comes with an invitation to trust God's timing. When financial blessings seem delayed, it's not because God has forgotten you. Instead, He is aligning circumstances, preparing your heart, and ensuring that when blessings come, they will serve His purpose rather than become a distraction. Habakkuk 2:3 reminds us, "For the revelation awaits an appointed time. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." Trusting God's timing requires patience and faith, but it also brings peace in knowing that His plans are always for your good. As you walk through seasons of financial struggle, remember that God is not punishing you. He is preparing you. He is redirecting your focus from temporary pursuits to eternal rewards, teaching you to value what truly matters. This is a season of growth, a time to deepen your faith and align your life with God's greater purpose. And when the blessings come, they will not just enrich your life, but also enable you to make a lasting impact for His kingdom. Let financial lack be a reminder of your higher calling. Allow it to redirect your attention from fleeting materialism to the eternal significance of living a life devoted to God. In doing so, you'll find that the true treasure lies not in what you possess, but in who you become through Him. Building empathy and compassion through struggles. Financial struggles, though challenging and often painful, serve a transformative purpose for the chosen ones of God. They are not merely a test of endurance, but a divine tool to shape your heart, building empathy and compassion that equips you to bless others when your season of abundance arrives. In these times of hardship, God is not only preparing you for future blessings, but also molding you into someone who can steward those blessings with love, generosity, and humility. Empathy is a quality that cannot be fully developed in comfort. It often grows in the soil of adversity, through personal experiences of pain, lack, and uncertainty. When you walk through financial struggles, you begin to understand firsthand the weight of unpaid bills, the stress of making ends meet, and the anxiety of wondering how tomorrow will unfold. These experiences create a sensitivity that goes beyond mere sympathy. They birth a deep, heartfelt understanding of what others endure. This is the kind of empathy that mirrors Christ's own compassion for humanity, a compassion born from walking among us, sharing in our struggles and pain. 2 Corinthians chapter 1:4 beautifully captures this truth. God comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. Your financial struggles are not just about you. They are part of a larger story, one where your experiences equip you to bring hope and encouragement to others. When you have felt the sting of lack, you are better able to extend grace to someone else in their time of need. You become a vessel through which God's comfort and provision flow. Hardship also fosters generosity. While it may seem counterintuitive, those who have experienced lack are often the most willing to give when they are able. Why? Because they know what it feels like to be in need. They understand the power of a kind gesture, the impact of unexpected help, and the deep gratitude that comes from receiving what was desperately needed. Financial struggles teach you to value even the smallest blessings, cultivating a heart that is eager to share when the opportunity arises. Think of the widow in Mark 12:41-44, who gave her last 2 coins at the temple. Jesus praised her offering, not because of its monetary value, but because it came from a place of deep faith and sacrifice. Her gift was rooted in empathy, understanding the value of giving even when it costs you something. This is the kind of generosity that God develops in you through financial struggles, a giving that reflects His own sacrificial love. These experiences also teach humility, a quality essential for serving others. When you've struggled, you are less likely to judge those who are in difficult circumstances. Financial hardships strip away pride, replacing it with a genuine desire to lift others up. Instead of viewing blessings as something earned or deserved, you recognize them as gifts from God, entrusted to you not just for your benefit, but to bless others. Proverbs 22:9 reminds us, "The generous will themselves be blessed, for they share their food with the poor." Generosity rooted in humility is a powerful way to reflect God's love to the world. Moreover, financial struggles deepen your awareness of the interconnectedness of humanity. They remind you that no one is truly self-sufficient, and that we are all called to support one another. This understanding shapes your relationships, fostering a sense of community and shared purpose. When you finally step into a season of abundance, your heart will not be focused on accumulating wealth for yourself, but on using it as a tool to uplift others, advance God's kingdom, and break chains of poverty for those still struggling. Consider the story of Ruth and Boaz in the Bible. Ruth, a widow in dire financial straits, chose to remain faithful and hardworking despite her circumstances. Boaz, a man of wealth, noticed her diligence and extended kindness and generosity to her. His actions not only changed Ruth's life, but also fulfilled a greater purpose in God's plan. Boaz's empathy and generosity were likely shaped by his own understanding of God's provision and his commitment to using his blessings for good. Similarly, your financial struggles today prepare you to be a Boaz in someone else's life tomorrow. Another aspect of compassion built through struggles is the ability to listen and connect. When you've experienced hardship, you become a safe space for others to share their burdens without fear of judgment. Your own journey of pain and perseverance becomes a testimony that encourages and inspires others. It says, "I've been where you are, and I know the God who can bring you through." Your story becomes a bridge, connecting you to others in ways that are deeply meaningful and transformative. Ultimately, financial struggles are God's way of teaching you to see blessings as tools for His glory, not as ends in themselves. When you've endured seasons of lack, you develop a keen sense of purpose for the resources you receive. Instead of hoarding or misusing them, you are more likely to channel them into acts of kindness, support for ministry, and investments in the lives of others. You become a conduit of God's love, pouring out what He has poured into you. In these seasons, it's crucial to remember that God is not only concerned with what you have, but with who you are becoming. He is shaping your heart to reflect His compassion, preparing you to carry His love into the world through acts of service and generosity. Financial struggles are not setbacks. They are setups for a greater calling. As you embrace the lessons they bring, you'll find that your capacity for empathy, compassion, and generosity grows, enabling you to bless others in ways that leave an eternal impact. So, if you find yourself in a season of financial struggle, take heart. God is at work, not just in your circumstances, but in your character. He is building in you the compassion of Christ, equipping you to be His hands and feet in a world that desperately needs His love. And when your blessings come, you will be ready to use them for the greater good, bringing hope and light to those still walking through the valley. This is the true purpose of struggle, to shape you into someone who can carry God's blessings with grace, humility, and a heart set on eternity. Angela grew up in a modest home on the outskirts of Birmingham, Alabama, where financial struggles were a constant reality. Her family, though rich in love and faith, was burdened by poverty that seemed almost hereditary. Bills were always overdue, meals were a patchwork of whatever was affordable, and luxuries were an unfamiliar concept. Angela watched her mother, a devout and resilient woman, stretch every dollar as far as it could go, always telling her children, "We may not have much, but God is always enough." While Angela clung to those words, she also made a vow to herself. One day, she would break free from this cycle of lack. From an early age, Angela displayed a determination that set her apart. She excelled in school, earned scholarships, and worked tirelessly to be the first in her family to attend college. Yet even as doors began to open, the shadow of financial hardship followed her. Paying for books, juggling part-time jobs, and navigating the pressures of academia often left her exhausted. Still, Angela turned to God for strength. She spent countless evenings on her knees in her dorm room, praying for guidance and for the courage to persevere. "Lord, I know you have a purpose for me," she whispered one night, her heart heavy but hopeful. "Help me to fulfill it." After graduation, Angela landed a promising job in finance, marking what she believed to be the beginning of a new chapter. With her first few paychecks, she paid off her mother's lingering debts and began helping her younger siblings pursue opportunities that had once seemed unattainable. For the first time, Angela felt like she was winning the battle against poverty. Her faith seemed validated as doors continued to open, and she celebrated each milestone as a victory over the generational struggles her family had endured. However, as her career advanced, subtle changes began to creep into Angela's life. Her focus shifted from her faith to her accomplishments. Morning prayers were replaced with early meetings, and Sunday services became optional as her social and professional obligations took precedence. At first, she told herself it was temporary, a necessary sacrifice to maintain her upward trajectory. But over time, Angela's identity became deeply entwined with her success. She took pride in what she had achieved, often forgetting that her blessings were a testament to God's faithfulness, not her own strength. Angela's personal life also began to reflect her misplaced priorities. She married Michael, a charismatic and ambitious man whose drive mirrored her own. Together they built a life that many envied, a spacious home, luxury cars, and vacations in exotic destinations. Yet beneath the polished exterior, Angela felt a growing emptiness. Her marriage lacked the spiritual foundation she had once cherished, and her relationship with God became an afterthought in the pursuit of worldly success. Then, almost without warning, Angela's world unraveled. She discovered that Michael had been unfaithful, shattering her trust and the facade of their perfect life. Around the same time, a series of failed business ventures and poor investments left her finances in disarray. Angela found herself facing mounting debts and the prospect of losing everything she had worked so hard to build. The weight of betrayal and financial ruin brought her to her lowest point, forcing her to confront the truth she had been avoiding. She had drifted far from the God who had carried her through every trial. One evening, as she sat alone in her now empty home, Angela fell to her knees and began to weep. "Lord, I don't know how I got here," she cried. "I've been chasing the wrong things, and now I have nothing. Please, help me find my way back to you." In that moment of raw surrender, Angela felt an overwhelming sense of peace. A peace that came not from her circumstances, but from the assurance that God's love for her was unshakable. She realized that her identity was not defined by her success or failures, but by her relationship with her Creator. From that day forward, Angela began to rebuild her life, but this time on a different foundation. She returned to her church, seeking guidance and community. She spent hours in prayer and reflection, rediscovering the joy and purpose that come from walking closely with God. Angela's circumstances didn't improve overnight. She still faced financial struggles and the emotional wounds of her failed marriage. But her perspective had shifted. She no longer viewed her struggles as setbacks, but as opportunities for growth and transformation. Over time, Angela's story began to inspire others. She started a financial literacy program at her church, teaching practical skills while emphasizing the importance of keeping God at the center of every decision. She also began mentoring young women, sharing her journey with honesty and vulnerability. Success is not about what you have, she would tell them, but about who you are in Christ. Don't let the blessings God gives you become the things that pull you away from Him. Angela's life became a living testimony of God's grace and redemption. Her financial struggles had cultivated empathy and compassion, equipping her to bless others in ways she never could have imagined. She no longer saw wealth as an end goal, but as a tool to serve God's kingdom. Through her hardships, she discovered that true abundance isn't measured in material possessions, but in a heart surrendered to God's will. Years later, as Angela reflected on her journey, she felt nothing but gratitude. What had once seemed like insurmountable losses had become the very experiences that shaped her character and deepened her faith. She realized that God's plan had always been greater than her own, and His provision had been abundant even in her seasons of lack. Angela's story became a beacon of hope for others, a reminder that no matter how far you wander, God's arms are always open, ready to lead you back to Him. Through her journey from struggle to redemption, Angela learned that the true wealth of life lies not in what you achieve, but in who you become through Christ. Trusting God through the season of lack. As we reflect on the lessons from Angela's journey and the truths shared today, let this be a reminder. Your current season of financial struggle is not the end of your story. It's part of a divine process, one designed to shape your character, deepen your faith, and align your heart with God's eternal purpose. You are not forgotten or abandoned. Instead, you are being prepared for something greater than you can imagine. Trusting God through a season of lack requires faith, patience, and surrender. It's not always easy, but His promises are unwavering. Romans 8:28 assures us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Even in your darkest moments, God is at work, orchestrating every detail for your ultimate good and His glory. If you're feeling overwhelmed, take heart in knowing that God sees you, loves you, and has a plan for your life. This is not a punishment, but preparation. Lean into Him, seek His wisdom, and trust that His timing is perfect. Your struggles today are building a foundation for tomorrow's blessings. Before you go, I invite you to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to this channel. Together, we can continue to explore God's truths and uplift one another in faith. Remember, you are not defined by your struggles, but by your relationship with the one who holds your future. Trust Him, and you will see His faithfulness unfold in ways you never expected. Stay strong, stay faithful, and stay rooted in His promises. God bless you.